Hey, how y'all doing? How y'all doing? You know, I was sitting here thinking, I said, man, I got to thinking about John the Baptist. And I was thinking about how he lived his life and the things that he did and what he stood for. And it made me realize that we as Christians should be living our lives, not necessarily like John the Baptist was as far as the way he was baptizing people or the way he was living in the desert, but just the principle of what he stood for. You know, he was lessening himself so that Jesus could be more. And he paved the way. And are we paving the way for Jesus? Are we pointing people to Jesus, or are we just moving around without that in mind? Because remember, Jesus did say, "Go out and make disciples." Yes, I know I'm talking about two different things. I know this was before Jesus had actually became who he was going to become when John the Baptist was paving the way. But my question is simply, are we pointing people to Jesus and then getting out of the way and not making it about ourselves? You see what I'm saying? John the Baptist didn't make it about himself. He pointed people to Jesus. He said he had to lessen himself so that he could be more. You know, and he wasn't about the legalism and the hypocrisy. You notice in his story when the Sadducees and the Pharisees came down to get baptized, he was furious. John the Baptist got furious, and he got furious because he didn't believe that they were genuine about what they were doing. He called them a brood of vipers. You see what I'm saying? And he just didn't believe that they were serious because they was using it for like political power, for different things like that. It wasn't because they was actually believing in the coming Messiah. And I think that we should be more like John the Baptist as far as us pointing people toward Jesus and paving the way, because he made the way straight. John the Baptist got everything in order. He was getting the people prepared for Jesus to arrive. And I think we should be doing the same thing as far as pointing people to Jesus and discipling, making disciples. That's what we should be doing. Not just because we celebrate and we worship and we do all these great things, but are we come in contact with people? Are we introducing them to Jesus? Are we letting them know who Jesus is? Or are we just staying in our own shell and not following what Jesus said? Now, people get the legalism part, right? They can do all the legalism, which Jesus wasn't about the legalism. And it wasn't about hypocrisy, but people seem to do that real well. But the part about discipling or making disciples or introducing people to Jesus and telling them who Jesus was, that's what people struggle. So I think we should go back to that story about John the Baptist. Really, really get into that story. Really, really get into know who John the Baptist was and ask yourself, am I pointing people toward Jesus? Y'all take care.